Now, things get a little bit more complicated when the coefficient is not a 1. So first of all, we don't have a perfect square. So we need to first change the equation by making that a value have a coefficient of 1. And what we want to do is divide everything by 3. And as long as we do it to every single term, we're okay. So we end up with x squared minus 2/3 x minus 1/3 is equal to 0. Now, this is not ideal because we're working with fractions, but that's okay. We can figure it out, and we're not changing them to decimals. So the next thing, we don't have a perfect square. So what that means is we take that constant to the right-hand side. So we have x squared minus 2/3x, which is equal to 1/3. Then we make our c value. So we take b over 2, which is negative 2/3. We divide it by 2, which is the same as multiplying by a half. This is this work here. And we square it. So we end up getting 1/9. We add it to each side. And as long as we add it to each side, we're good. Then we want to factor the left-hand side. So when we factor the left-hand side, we end up getting x minus 1/3. The reason why it's a minus is because we have a negative sign on the b, and really we're just taking the square root of 1/9. We need a common denominator on the right-hand side, so we'll multiply this by 3/3. So we end up getting 4/9. Then we use our square root property. And we add the 3 over, or 1/3, sorry. Now we write it as two separate equations. We get 3/3, which is equal to 1, and negative 1/3. Then we write it in set notation. So that was a little bit different because the coefficient was not 1. Our last example has imaginary solutions. So again, we look, is the left-hand side a trinomial, a perfect square? No, it's not. So we're going to take that negative, or that 11, and bring it to the left-hand side. And what happens is that makes it negative. That's how we're going to have our imaginary numbers. We complete the square, so b over 2. We take 4/2. We square it, so we add 4 to each side. We write the left-hand side as a perfect square and simplify the right-hand side. Then we take that square root property, -7, and then we'll bring the -2 over. Now, because we know about imaginary numbers, we can change that. Remember, the square root of -1 is just I. And that is our answer. Now, there's no need to separate that. We can't actually find a value. So we can just leave our answer like this. Oops.